What the Business YouTube, episode 64. My name's Jay Florida, and today's career of discussion is a bailiff. So, what is a bailiff? A bailiff is a legal officer who maintains order and security in a courtroom. They enforce the court rules, handle administrative errands for the judge, and guard prisoners or sequester jurors. Now, to give you a piece of history, bailiffs have been around for nearly a millennium, with roots tracing back to Norman England in the 11th century around 1066. The concept evolved even earlier, as early English laws around 7th to 8th century AD featured early stewards responsible for enforcing the law. Historically, they acted as estate managers, tax collectors, and law enforcers for lords or the crown. Now, a few basic requirements to becoming a bailiff include obtaining a GED or diploma, completing a strict background check, drug and alcohol screenings, and psychological evaluations, pursuing a police academy and state law enforcement certification, and previous experience in local policing, corrections, or security. Becoming an established bailiff can take you anywhere from 6 months to 4 years and cost you just about $250 for testing fees and medical exams. As far as your range, as an entry-level bailiff, you can expect to make $25,000 to $35,000, with a few things affecting how much you take home, being employers such as county sheriff's office or state judicial systems, background experience, education and credentials such as a bachelor's degree in criminal science, and overtime. A day in life as a bailiff can be described as inspecting courtrooms and such for weapons or contraband before court begins, handling evidence between attorneys, witnesses, and the judge, administering oaths to individuals before they testify, long periods of standing, and unpredictable physical altercations. As far as opportunity, with a pretty big emphasis on law enforcement background, the bailiff scores yellow for opportunity. Now, though this isn't a career that typically dubs you fame or notoriety, a few examples to take note of in this field include Petrie Hawkinsburg, who served as the beloved bailiff alongside Judge Judy for 25 seasons. Next, we have Rusty Burrell, a former deputy sheriff who gained global fame appearing on Divorce Court and the People's Court. And last but not least, we have Paul Boham, a highly publicized high bailiff of early colonial Philadelphia, known for his conflicts with early American figures. And if you guys want to see more of this content and better, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, send the hype, the whole business. Moving on to our fact moment segment of this episode, starting off with fact number 1. There are 3 branches of government, being the legislative branch, the executive branch, and the judicial branch. Fact number 2. Cruel and unusual punishment became law in the U.S. on December 15, 1791, when the 8th Amendment was ratified as part of the Bill of Rights. The concept originated earlier, first appearing in the English Bill of Rights of 1689. And fact number 3. The longest criminal trial in U.S. history was the McMartin preschool abuse trial in California, which lasted nearly 7 years from 1987 to 1990. It costed over $15 million and ended with 0 convictions, as the charges were ultimately dropped due to false allegations and coerced child testimony. Now, moving on to our last segment before we head on to the circle of influence, we have health risks and mitigation, starting off with assault from distressed, angry, or desperate individuals, chronic stress and burnout as a result of de-escalating tense situations and navigating unpredictable environments, trauma from processing trauma as a result of victim testimony and graphic evidence, and musculoskeletal disorders as a result of standing for the entirety of your shift. As far as mitigation, you should train in proper trauma-responsive practices, wear fitted ballistic body armor, stab-resistant vests, and use reliable communication devices. establish peer support networks and routine psychological checkups, and wear supportive footwear as well as taking micro breaks, especially during adjournment. Now that does it for the circle. That does it for our primary segment. I'm gonna go ahead and give the floor to my co-host for the Circle of Influence. What the business, YouTube? Back several hours later with better cognitive functioning. Always working from early to late to bring you guys quality content. Now starting off the Circle of Influence, we have respect. Is this a career or a position that brings me respect and dignity? Now, as a bailiff, you make sure the processes of the court go by uninterrupted and ensure the safety of those in attendance. For that reason, the bailiff score is green. Moving on, we have growth. Is this a career or position that presents me with the opportunity to grow from $100,000 earner threshold? And for this segment, the bailiff score is yellow, with sources online citing that the bailiff has the potential to make anywhere from $150,000 to $200,000 in a single year. Moving on, we have gore. Is this a career or a position that will have me dealing with an abundance of blood, violent action, grotesque imagery, or scenery? And for this segment, the bailiff score is yellow. As mentioned before, depending on what case you're overseeing, there's a possibility that you may have to go over graphic evidence. And for our last ideological standpoint, we have moral conflict. Is this a career or a position that will have me compromise any of my foreseeable morals or make decisions that will weigh heavy on me later on? Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, don't kill. The basic set of guidelines. And for this segment, the bailiff score is green. Moving on to the statistical side of things, we have gender demographics, where men make up 55% of the profession and women make up 45% of the profession, though some sources claim the split is 70% men and 30% women. Next, we have ethnic demographics, where Caucasians account for 70% of the profession, African Americans account for 14% of the profession, and Hispanics make up a whopping 10% of the entire profession. For our last standpoint, we have location demographics, top paying states, no particular order, starting things off with New York, followed by Georgia and Kansas, and closing things out with Colorado and California. Now that does it for the Circle of Influence. I'm gonna go ahead and give the floor back to Florida. I'm back. Just to summarize, the bailiff, you are the statue in the courtroom that oversees order and safety. It is a highly respectable position that provides you with just about a comfortable amount of room to move around from $100,000 earning threshold, with an earning potential of up to $200,000 per year. And pursuing this career, especially if you already have a background in law enforcement, is very inexpensive. Now, with that being said, it does look like we have a full episode today. The word of the day is entitled. Self-help resources on the board. As always, I'll leave it down in the description. And again, to show your support, if you want to see more of this content and better, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, send the hype, the whole business. And I'll see you guys on episode 65.